What if you could walk into any meeting already fully briefed on the person across the table with a list full of thoughtful questions ready to go? Most of us use AI to answer questions. Today, I want to explore how it can be used to build answers automatically before you even ask for them. We're going to look at Google Workspace Studio. It acts as a blank canvas where everyday apps like Calendar, Drive, and Gmail can talk directly to Google's AI models. You can trigger in one app and tell the AI to perform an action in another. Think about the possibility here. A new appointment is booked, and an assistant quietly pulls background information to structure a briefing document for your inbox. Then, when the conversation wraps up, that same assistant reviews the transcript and drafts an email with the next steps. So, let's look at the pre-meeting research brief. So the first thing to do is to actually head to Workspace Studio. You can do that by going to studio.workplace.google.com. When you open up the homepage here, you can see that there's a fair bit of information. If you scroll down, there's a few templates that Google has actually pre-prepared. So if you want something that's already built, you can click on this and it will take you into the flow builder, and it will already be pre-populated with the structure that you can then build upon and customize. In this section here, you can also describe what you want Gemini to do. So you might tell it that you want to have an assistant that will recognize when someone sends you a chat message to then automate an email to you with that and give a summary description of what they've asked you about in the chat and then a suggested reply. So you can do that here, click create, and then it will suggest a workflow for you that you can then test and refine. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through one that I've built. And to create one from scratch, you click on new flow, and that will open up a new screen that we can work on in the canvas. So this is the meeting research brief, and this is what the flow looks like once we've built it. The first bit is the starter. So this is what triggers the flow itself. So because we want it to be based on a meeting that's set with us, we're going to go in and add in based on a meeting. But you can select any criteria here. It might be an email, it might be a Google chat, but we're going to use based on a meeting. And to start with, I've got every meeting, time offset 1 hour. So 1 hour before the meeting is due to start, down here, it will notify me by email. So we set up the trigger for the flow itself. Then we ask it to decide what do we want to make sure goes through this flow and what doesn't. I've asked it here, does the meeting title include certain criteria? And then also, does the meeting description itself include certain criteria? And then we give it what's called a variable. So a variable is stored information from a previous step in the flow. So based on the meeting, I want to give context to the LLM. The title that I refer to up here is the meeting title from step one. And you do this by adding the variable based on a meeting, and then you select what information you want to provide it. And the same with the description. We want to give context to the AI to make sure that it's not questioning what does it mean by meeting description up in this bit up here. So we put description, and then we put the variable in based on the meeting that was being booked, put in meeting description, and that's the variable. So that's the next step. Does it meet the criteria to go through this flow? If it does, so this should be binary, yes or no, true or false. It can't be vague. We then want to extract unstructured data from the meeting description. So in my meetings, I ask people to give a topic for discussion, and that might be anything. It might be, can you advise me on Google Workspace Studio? It might be, how do we create a Salesforce flow to increase our efficiency as a team? So we've got here, we want to extract information from the meeting description. And what I want it to extract is the topic for discussion, that mandatory field. Then I've given it a description for Gemini to make sure it knows what I mean by topic for discussion. So extracting that topic for discussion. The next bit's the fun bit. We've got all the information ready. We now want to ask Gemini. So we've got a prompt here. And what we're doing then, we're adding in some variables so we can see here that extracted topic for discussion from the previous step, plus some information about the meeting itself. We want Gemini to have a look at the attendee, their business, what's the topic for discussion, and to research these things and give me a briefing that will allow me to be better prepared for the meeting. So who is the person? What are their interests? What's their professional background? What is the topic for discussion? Give me an executive summary and tell me some information that I might need to know. And then also give me some discovery questions. Create 10 discovery questions to make sure that I'm covering off all the bases that when I'm in the meeting with that client, I can make sure that I ask the right questions so that I can support them best and advise them on next steps. So then once we give them the brief to Gemini, we then want it to notify me by email. So by email, it will send me the subject, which is the meeting title from step one, plus all of the content that we've created in this Ask Gemini step here. And what I do next is go through a very rigorous testing process to make sure that I've covered off all bases, and I iteratively improve the concept to make sure it gives me exactly what I want and it doesn't do anything unexpected. So just to demonstrate the test, we can do test run here, and it will do a test run based on a meeting that I've set with myself, and we'll click on start and it will work through this flow to see, does that meeting meet the criteria? And it will, because it's got this in the title like we defined. And if it's true, it will pull out the topic for discussion, it will send all that information to Gemini, and then it will send me an automated email. And the flow itself has been successful. And in my inbox now, I've just been sent this email that gives me an overview of Architas Solutions, a bit about James, myself, and it's largely very accurate, which is great. It also has the topic for discussion. So I wanted to know how we can get the most out of Google Workspace for the teams. It will give me an overview of Google Workspace and some of the new things that are coming about, and also put it in context of Architas that I booked the meeting under, how it might relate to them in a more personal way. And then it's got 10 discovery questions as well to make sure that I cover all of the bases that might be relevant. We've just looked at one very specific way that Google Workspace Studio can operate, the pre-meeting research brief, but the possibility here extends far beyond a single workflow. Think about what else can be connected. When a meeting transcript is added to Google Drive, the system could read the documents, summarize the key decisions, and draft an email to the participants with their assigned action items. When a high priority client sends an email, it could draft a suggested reply and flag it for your review. Or when a weekly project report arrives, it could extract the key metrics and send them directly to a Google chat space for you to collaborate on. Everything that we've explored here today is strictly for educational purposes, designed to give you a clear picture of what is possible. It shows the mechanics of how you can elevate your focus, reclaim your time, and show up to every conversation fully prepared. But bringing this level of automation into your own day-to-day requires careful calibration. If you want to see how I can support you in designing and validating these workflows specifically for your needs, you can email me from my main Architas YouTube page, or subscribe to my newsletter in the description below, where I share other useful tips on AI. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.